Paraguay should be banned permanently from the World Cup tournament. I never want to see Paraguay compete in a World Cup again. And I have no idea how they beat Argentina. I have no idea how they qualified over Peru, a team that's also been low key, kind of in good form right now. I don't understand. I don't know what Paraguay we watched last night, because that was not the same Paraguay that did the things that I mentioned. The same Paraguay that beat Argentina. The same Paraguay that qualified to this World Cup, which I have no idea how they even did. It was just a completely different team. That's my only explanation. The Paraguay that we saw get absolutely ass raped by the United States is not the same Paraguay that was tearing it up in CONMEBOL to qualify into this tournament. Bro, USA, Paraguay, that wasn't a match. That wasn't a game. That wasn't a football match. That was a Diddy party without any baby oil, okay? They went in raw. They raw dogged them boys and absolutely set South American footy back like 100 years, homie. That was absolutely disastrous. That was disastrous for South American foot, and that was disastrous for the World Cup. You have a bunch of casuals now thinking the United States is going to win the whole damn tournament after that performance. That's how bad Paraguay was. Paraguay made the USMNT look like 2010 Spain, homie. With prime Xavi Alonso, Puyol, and all them cats. They made USA look like motherfucking 2022 Argentina, 1990s Brazil, FC Barcelona. Like, unbelievable performance. And listen, I gotta give it up to the United States. I gotta give it up to them. And the reason I gotta give it up to them is not because of the way they demolished Paraguay even. It's because of the fact that here's a team that couldn't even qualify. That couldn't even qualify for the 2018 World Cup. In the second weakest confederation on the planet, they couldn't even qualify for the 2018 World Cup. They missed it. And now here we are, 2 World Cups later, they're one of the co-hosts, and they absolutely put belt to ass to a relatively strong South American team too. I know I hyped up Paraguay in my group stage prediction video. I know I was wrong. I was dead ass wrong. You know, this really reminds me of my prediction of the Mexican monster, David Benavides, and Gilberto. I was about to say Gilberto Mora. What the fuck? Zurdo. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. I was predicting El Zurdo to beat David Benavides. I said it. I was confident too. I pumped my chest out with those predictions. I put extra salsa on those predictions, homie. I'm like, bro, I'm telling y'all, El Zurdo Ramirez is too big, too strong. David ain't gonna be able to hurt him. And then that motherfucker gets dog walked across 5 rounds, gets knocked the hell out, takes a knee, walks out of the building looking like a fucking Olmec. You know, that's exactly what this game reminds me of. Exactly like that. A prediction gone way the hell wrong. The United States had Paraguay looking like some high school, middle school team in the slums somewhere that don't even have nets. Just kick around the ball to pass the time. I don't know what that was, man. I understand that Paraguay, and you know, it's really fucked up because Paraguay had such a passionate send-off, man. You know, that when they played, I think it was Haiti, was their final preparation game. I could be wrong. I don't follow Paraguay like that, but, you know, I've been reading that Paraguay is one of the strong up-and-coming South American sides, man. Like, they're usually weaker, right? Like, listen, CONMEBOL is like, it's just a 2-horse race, really, with Argentina and Brazil. It's really a double-headed dragon between Argentina and Brazil, and then it's everyone else. But typically, you know, you have basically Argentina and Brazil are the final bosses. And right below them, you'll have like your Colombias, your Uruguays, you know, your Chiles. And then right below them, the bottom of the pyramid would be like your Bolivias, your Venezuelas, your Ecuadors, you know, etc. But Paraguay is like somewhere in the middle usually. Paraguay's not as bad as Bolivia, but they're nowhere near as good usually as Brazil, Argentina, or even the mid tiers like Colombia, Ecuador, even. You know what I mean? But lately, they've been in incredible form. They actually beat Argentina in a 2-1 victory going into this tournament. They qualified in one of the hardest confederations on the planet. Really, people say UEFA's the hardest confederation, but I disagree. I think CONMEBOL is the hardest confederation because it's the smallest confederation. Well, I don't know if it's the smallest, but it's one of the smaller confeds, with only a handful of teams. Now, granted, I think they're allotted like 5 seeds or something historically, but it's still a grind, man, because every single team in South America is fucking hard, maybe, barring like Bolivia. I would say Bolivia is probably a team that really should probably just play in CONCACAF with us, if I'm being honest, but like, I wish we could just trade. Like, let Mexico play in CONMEBOL and Bolivia takes our spot in CONCACAF. And the United States could orchestrate a rivalry with Bolivia. But, listen, man, I understand that Paraguay, they lost one of their key players in that friendly. Supposedly, he fully healed, though, and he played, apparently, against the United States, but he didn't do a damn thing. I don't think he was fully healed. And no, I am not trying to generate excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States was most definitely the better team. They had the better plays, better tactics, better overall physical fitness. Bro, the Paraguay players looked tired. Like, before the first half even ended, those fools already looked tired. They were, like, dragging their feet on the pit. I don't know if it's because SoFi Stadium has artificial turf instead of real grass. Maybe that could be a factor. I don't know if that's a factor or not. But, like, bro, the Paraguay players, I don't know how. They look tired already in the first half when these motherfuckers play in South America in extremely high altitude and climate. Like, people think Mexico is bad with the climate advantage that we have there. Bro, go to like Quito, Ecuador, and Bolivia, bro, and Paraguay for that matter. And it makes Mexico look like, playing a game on easy mode. Okay, they're used to crazy climate, elevation, altitude. I don't know how these players were already tired. At least that's how it appeared by the way they were playing before the first half even ended. I was absolutely disgusted by what I watched. I was more disgusted by this Paraguay performance than I was for the South Africa performance. Even though the South Africans accumulated 2 red cards, 2 expulsions in a game. Yet, I feel like South Africa put up more of a fucking fight than Paraguay did. Even though, South Africa didn't score on us, and that's a big talking point too, by the way. Only one co-host of this here World Cup got a clean sheet, which is Mexico. Canada drew, Bosnia, and the United States conceded 1 goal to Paraguay. But, be that as it may, I can't be a hater. I can't even hate, bro. The United States, out of all 3 hosts, they had the best performance. Because how can they not? I don't care if they conceded. Even if Paraguay had scored 2 goals, bro. Winning by 4 in your opening game, that's incredible. I don't remember the last time a host nation of a World Cup put away 4 goals. And actually, in fact, I don't even remember the last time I seen a U.S. performance like this. Real talk. In a competitive game, not in a fucking friendly against, Nicaragua or some shit. Like, this is a competitive game against a South American opponent, and they were able to put 4 away on them fools. And they conceded a goal. But yeah, they out of all 3 guest hosts, only one co-host, I said guest host, only one co-host kept a clean sheet, but the United States still had the best overall performance by and large. Just incredible goleada that we witnessed at SoFi Stadium. I was there at SoFi Stadium for a Metallica concert 3 years ago, and I hate to say this. Again, I'm not trying to throw shade on the US. I'm just keeping it real. But bro, the Metallica concert that I went to 3 years ago was more packed than the United States national team opening game of the World Cup against Paraguay. Mic drop. Fucking Metallica's a bigger draw than the United States men's national team at the World Cup hosting That's sad. That is sad. You know, we have a long ways to go before soccer starts really catching on here in the United States, because all the empty seats that I was seeing on Twitter, I don't know. You know what? Now that I think about it, I hope that what I saw wasn't digitally altered, because man, the number of empty seats that I saw in SoFi Stadium was alarming. Like real talk. Because again, the Metallica concert I went to, which was super expensive, by the way, like not I can't imagine that it was like way cheaper than these tickets, because it was very expensive. All right, that's Metallica, homie. That's an iconic that's an iconic act right there. That's Metallica. The tickets to that concert were very expensive. You know, they weren't cheap. Like, you know, the tickets to the Metallica concert were more expensive than some of never mind. I'm lying. I was about to say they were more expensive than some of the World Cup tickets I saw, the cheaper ones, but I'm lying. They weren't cheaper, but they were still very expensive. And yet the SoFi Stadium was practically sold out for that concert. And yet the USMNT couldn't sell out their opening game of the grandest sporting event on the planet, the World Cup. You know, now granted, they're playing against Paraguay, but it don't matter who you play. Bro, Mexico, South Africa, bro, that drew like 80 plus thousand people. And the tickets to see that game are more expensive. Mexico's more expensive to go see live than the United States. That's a fact. You can look it up right now. You know, like literally tickets to go see Mexico's games are so in demand and so hot that they're being like surcharged. They're like priced way higher. You know, I don't know about way higher, but they are higher. Like it's cheaper to go to a USMNT game than it is to go to a Mexico game. And yet that game in Estadio Azteca against butt fucking South Africa drew 80 plus thousand people. All right, super expensive tickets. I wanted to go. I was trying to go. And you know, I could have gone, but I ain't trying to spend my money like that right now. I gotta chill out. But yeah, so that's just crazy. That's all I gotta say about that. But big ups to the U.S., man. Big ups to Canada. Even though they didn't win, they did put on a good performance. That Bosnia team is not easy, man. I think Canada, I mean, on paper, the United States had the hardest opening game on paper. But now, you know, looking back retrospectively, hindsight 2020, looking at the performance of all the teams individually, all of our opponents, bro, Canada had the way harder opening game than both Mexico and the United States. Bosnia played really good, very, very, very technical, defense-oriented team. And yet they also have good attack. They were putting good plays together. You know, but Canada was able to get a result. You know, it was a 1-1 draw, but it's a result nonetheless. But again, I just have to say that one more time. I think looking at it in hindsight, bro, Canada had the hardest opening game out of the three hosts. On paper, it was the U.S., but that wasn't Paraguay, homie. I don't give a fuck. I don't know who that was. That was not Paraguay. That played the United States in SoFi Stadium. I don't know who that was. Those were some imposters, homie. Anyway, Mexico is going to play South Korea Thursday, June 18th. And, you know, I just want to say right now, after that performance against South Africa, I'm very hard pressed to pick Mexico and, you know, to win this game, because South Korea, they're a lot more they're a lot more dangerous on attack than South Africa was or is. With that said, I'm still gonna stick to my prediction, man. I'm predicting Mexico 2-1. I could even see possibly a 3-2 type of result, bro. I could even see like a 3-2 result. I think the last time Mexico and South Korea played, it was a 2-2 stalemate, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2-2. You know, I remember because Santi Jimenez. I don't know when's the last time anybody called that vato Santiago. But Santi Jimenez scored a banger to close out the game. It was like literally in the final minutes of the game, he scored a banger, and that, you know, because Mexico was behind. Korea was beating Mexico like 2-1. And then Santi evened it up with a banger from outside the box, I believe, too. It wasn't even like close. It was pretty far. So I am seeing something similar in the World Cup, but I think Mexico's going to edge out Korea. And I'm mainly picking that just because of right now the structure that Javier Aguirre has with Mexico is to keep clean sheets, man, or try to as close as possible. The defensive structure they have is really tremendous right now. And plus with the home field advantage, that's what's giving me comfort. But I would not be surprised, homie, if South Korea ends up beating Mexico. I would not be surprised. Like after what I watched against South Africa, I shitted all over the game, and I listened back to that transmission, and I was overreacting a little bit. I was being very, very negative. I just, I don't know. I just wanted my grandpa to have fun and see Mexico playing good. And my grandpa's hard to please. He's very strict. But watching football with him, that's a tradition for me. I'm going to cherish that, man, up until the day that he's not here no more, And because Mexico played so poorly, or at least in his eyes, they played poorly, and thus in my eyes as well. You know what I mean? Like, we have high expectations for the team. Perhaps we're delusional. Whatever. I know USMNT fans like to throw that word around. You Mexicans are delusional. Your team sucks ass. Yeah, y'all ain't ever done any better than us, though. Yeah. But I just want to say that I did overreact in that transmission. And, a win is a win, right? Vin Diesel. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. You never had me. You never had your car. All right, anyway. But, yeah, man. Hopefully Mexico plays better against Korea because they're going to have to. We're not going to have Cesar Montes. We're going to have El Machin as CB, which is a big, big, big problem, man. Because if y'all thought Cesar Montes was a liability, Edson as a center back is even more so a liability because he is not a center back. That man is a CDM. All right, he's a midfielder, a defensive midfielder, a CDM. He has no business playing as a center back, but that's what happens when you call up a bunch of strikers. What the hell is Memote doing? And it's crazy because Javier Aguirre subbed in Hormiga to my surprise. I marked out when Hormiga got put on the pitch. I was not expecting that because the rumors going around was that Raul was striker number 1 and number 2 was actually Memote, with then Santi at third and then Hormiga as Santi's filler, fourth string striker or whatever. So I was surprised to see Hormiga, but again, Hormiga gets put on the pitch. He doesn't really maximize his minutes, and thus I would not be surprised if he doesn't see the pitch again in this group stage. Honestly, I could see El Vasco putting on Santi, trying to give Santi a chance, maybe even Memote. I don't know what the hell Memote is doing here, in all honesty, but it is what it is. If it's me, I actually did do a formation. Yeah, so if it's me, what I'm doing, man, if I'm the coach, what I'm doing is Tala Rangel is safe at 1. Right back, I'm keeping Reyes as right back, although there's rumors. Rumors are suggesting that he's going to bring on Jorge Sanchez for the game against Korea. Why? I don't know. I know Jorge is more attack-oriented, but Reyes showed that he also could move up in attack as well. So I don't get that. Center back is going to be Alvarez on the right because we have to. Cesar Montes is not going to be available due to incurring a really bad red card. Really, really stupid red card for no reason. Like, why not just concede, bro? I would rather concede a goal than get a red card, and now you're not going to be here in a even more dangerous game. Vasquez on the left, the center back. And instead of Jesus Gallardo as left back, I'm putting Mateo Chavez against the Koreans. And then my CDM is Lira. My center midfielder on the right is going to be Guti. And then I'm actually going to put Mora on the left. And as the winger on the left, it's not going to be Quiñones. It's going to be Alexis Vega. Because my 9 is going to be Julian Quiñones. Now, I know Raul Jimenez scored that really good header, assisted by El Piojo, to my surprise. But I think Quiñones should start as the striker, man. He's on fire. And you can see it in his body language. Like, this guy has something to prove. He's originally from Colombia. And he became a Mexican citizen. Bro, he has a Mexican wife. His kids are Mexican, born and raised. He's Mexican 100%. But because he's originally from Colombia, his character arc is that he has something to prove to the Mexican people. Like, you know what? I'm going to show these motherfuckers that I'm Mexican too. And that's why I'd give him the striker position, bro. He's on fire right now. He deserves it. Raul Jimenez could come on as a super sub, man, and really fuck shit up. And then, of course, as the right winger, Piojo stays because there's no other options. That's the lineup that I would give, but of course, it remains to be seen what Javier Aguirre does. My final prediction, once again, I'll say for Mexico-Korea is going to be 2-1 is my final prediction. 2-1 Mexico. But before I sign off here, let's talk about the games that are going to pop off today. Actually, it's just about to start as I'm recording this shit. But Qatar, Switzerland. Switzerland is going to blow their backs out. They should. It should be another Diddy party without baby oil. I will say Switzerland 3-0. 3-0, maybe even 4-0 on Qatar. They don't have a prayer. Now, the real main event today, even though it's not the final game of today's match day 2 or match day 3, but Brazil-Morocco. Boy, this is going to be fucking interesting, bro. This is going to be a banger. Brazil's going in as the favorite, of course. I'm picking Morocco. I'm actually picking either Morocco or a stalemate draw, but I'm picking Morocco. I want to say 2-1 victory for Morocco. It's going to be a tight game, but I'm going to lean with Morocco. Haiti versus Scotland. I talked about this in my group stage predictions as well. I'm leaning towards Scotland, but this is a very, very evenly matched game, bro. Like, don't sleep on Haiti. They're a spicy team, bro. They got a lot of speed. But every time I say don't sleep on so-and-so, then I end up getting it way wrong, bro. I'm like the new Teddy Atlas, the Teddy Atlas curse. My predictions just always, whoever I pick pick the opposing fucking player or fighter. They're gonna win. I'm gonna roll. Oh man, this is tough. Where are they playing at? That's what I want to know. Hold up, where are they playing at? Because that could also influence. Oh, they're playing in Massachusetts. Interesting. Okay, they're playing in Boston Stadium in Massachusetts. Oh man, this is tough. This is kind of tough, man. But I'm leaning Scotland, man. I'm leaning Scotland. Actually, the fact that they're playing in Boston kind of seals the deal for me, bro. Because there's a lot of like Irish and Celtic people over there. It's not as hot. You know what I'm saying? So Haiti, the Haitians are going to be in enemy territory. You know what I'm saying? Scotland's going to have home field advantage in Boston. I would surmise to believe. And yes, I know Scotland and Ireland are two different countries. I know, dicks. I'm just saying, though. I'm sure there's some Scottish people in Boston, too. You feel me? So anyway, I'm going to pick Scotland to beat Haiti. Or maybe even a draw, actually. I could see this being a fucking draw, too, actually. Like a boring-ass 0-0 or 1-1 draw kind of thing. But I'm gonna just roll with Scotland because it's in Boston. That's literally the only thing that's influencing me to pick Scotland to win this game. And then the final match of today is going to be Turkey and Australia. The Socceroos. And the Socceroos are going to get socked up. They're going to get socked up because I'm picking Turkey to win this game. They're playing in Canada. Not only am I picking Turkey to win this game, I'm still picking Turkey to win the group, by the way. I know the U.S. just, they absolutely drilled Paraguay like nobody's business, but I still think Turkey's going to win the group. And U.S. now, they're going to come in second. I picked them to come in third originally, but based on how many goals they just scored, they're probably going to batter Australia too. We'll see. But yeah, Australia's there for the vibes. I'm picking Turkey to beat Australia. And that's going to do it for today's coverage of the World Cup. I'll keep them coming as this tournament progresses. Thank y'all for listening. Don't forget to tip your waitresses, wash your hands, wash your ass, and I'll see you on the next one.